is Tywanah Evette. I go by Black Butterfly Goddess. That's my alter ego. And I had issues with my weight going up and down after my car wreck in 2004. And it was primarily because of all the medicine, all of the medication, especially things like narcotics, they literally paralyze your intestines. So I would go through bouts where I would just gain weight, gain weight, gain weight. And then it got to a point where I was on 14 different medicines, not including my pain meds. 14 different, between insulin, diabetes pills, cholesterol, heart medicine. I was 362 pounds. And even if I ate a salad, my sugar would jump up. So I did try to lose it on my own, and because of my injury, because of the car wreck, because of the fact that I still to this day have to take pain medicine, I've got titanium sitting on my sciatic nerve. My doctor kept trying to get me to have weight loss surgery, to have the sleeve done. And I finally did it because she told me I didn't have long to live, that I had been maxed out on every single medicine. They couldn't give me any more, and that I wouldn't be alive by the end of the year. I had also had previous renal failure, full renal failure on the transplant list. So I did have the sleeve done, but when people think it's the easy way out, it's not. It's not. We go through so much more than just being able to lose weight naturally. I would have chosen that over the surgery any day. Our hair is constantly falling out. We're constantly worried about our skin, because, we're not receiving as many vitamins and nutrients from the food. So it's a rest of the life thing where you have to be conscious and aware of what you're putting in your body and make those good decisions to flood your body with those good nutrients versus, eating a bag of Lay's potato chips, which is my weakness, but nobody heard that.
I want to say that my weakness is, and I have it actually to the right of me, granola bars, dark chocolate, oats, granola bars.
Those are so good. I can't
So
buy
good.
them. I'll eat them all
I've had three already today on top of this after the
on
salmon,
top of your salmon.
right? On top of the salmon. And I justify it as it's for fiber, which helps me.
We have the same justification.
That's right. It goes to the washroom better, everyone. Okay. So that's how I
Exactly.
justify it. But for
I love
you,
it.
right? Like it was like when I look at when I listen to what you just shared, and when I look at some of my friends who've struggled with weight, most of the people that I know who struggled with weight are women.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people and most of the women that I know that struggle with weight, it's later on in life and there was a
Yes.
cause, right? So for you, it was a car accident. For some of these
Yes.
ladies, it was like a divorce. It
Right.
was something else, right? It was something that changed their life in a way that maybe they weren't as prepared as they thought they would be
Mm-hmm.
in the case of these women and their relationships, or it was something that you couldn't prepare for, like a car accident. You don't walk down the street and
Right.
say, okay, I'm prepared to get hit by a car today.
No.
Right? No, no one does that, right?
I was on my way to work. No.
Absolutely. Like I remember when I was in a car accident, I was trying to get gas at a gas station and the car hit me into one of the pumps. Right. And I was scared because you've seen the movies, you hit the pump,
Yes.
instant
And
explosion.
it blows up.
It blows up. In reality, that doesn't happen.
They prepare for
So
it would have to be an 18 wheeler. They prepare for that.
exactly. So at 362,
Mm-hmm.
I always envision from what I'm told, but I'll get this from you. At 362, my friends who've reached that size, who are overweight, who are obese, they say that the world is different to them.
It is.
Was that what you went through? And if so, how different was the world to you?
People definitely treat you differently. When you're bigger, they just, think you're a lard star and you're lazy and you just sit at home eating Lay's potato chips and, double dark chocolate granola bars all day in front of the television. They didn't see me running on the treadmill for hours. They didn't see me eating literally salads for days at a time and still not able to get the weight off. So society has this thing where it's like, oh, if you're overweight, it's your fault and you're a bad person and you don't deserve the airplane seat and you don't deserve respect. And when in reality, no, it's our food source. Think about it. When my number one, my grandmother died at 92 or 93 years old. She ate fried chicken all the time, but she wasn't overweight. And I really attribute it to what they're putting in our food, in addition to the hormonal changes that women go through when there is a major life event happening. It kind of pairs together.
And I think that's something that's overmissed is the nutrition,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like we discussed, we're both pescatarian, so there's sacrifices that we've had to make,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we look like we're pretty close in age. So even though you started yours a little bit later than I did, I remember a time where you couldn't just go anywhere and get a tofu burger or
Yes.
anything of that nature, right? It was if you don't make it at home,
You can't have it.
you're out of luck, right? Now it's a lot better, but it's still, I would argue, not great because for seafood options, it's if you don't like shrimp, it's a tough world out there, right? Because shrimp pasta, shrimp everything, essentially. So
Yes.
when you had like the struggles of looking at the world, I know that there's this stigma that you're right, that people look at those who are larger in size and think that they're very lazy, they're
Mm-hmm.
very undisciplined. And maybe there's some people like that, but there's a lot of people that aren't. Like I go to the gym and I see some people working their butts off at the gym
Mm-hmm.
and they're bigger. And then you have that's a social aspect. And then you have probably, let's say the romantic side,
Yes.
where if you're, I'm assuming you're a heterosexual woman, you have probably men who are viewing you differently,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
now you're post that situation. So when you compare the two, what are some of the major differences that you see?
People take me seriously. Men compliment me and say I'm beautiful. My face was still the same. It was a little more puffy, but it was still the same. I haven't had facial reconstruction surgery. Um, People automatically treat me with dignity. I remember not having dignity when I was bigger, or going in stores. Oh my God, going in a store and try something on. I used to go into crying fits. My daughter can tell you. I used to go into crying fits because, they've gotten a little better since the pandemic started as far as women's fashion is concerned for larger sized, people. But it was a tent. It was a muumuu. That's how and I'm from New York City. I worked on Fashion Avenue. When I graduated high school. What do you mean I have to wear this muumuu? No, you know? So it's a little better now, but I'm treated with much more dignity and respect today.
I went through something similar, but not the same, where when I was trying to gain weight, I was very, very skinny. So in high school, I was, I think, around 100 pounds. I was
Mm,
nothing underweight. Thank God for puberty. And then I started to grow and gain a little bit weight. And you're absolutely right how people view you, because I remember hearing the comments about those who are really thin,
hmm
those who are really big. The
hmm
difference that I found was that people were more vocal about those who are bigger,
Yes.
right? And you had like when a man is obese or overweight, it's more so his friends telling him,
hmm
"Hey, buddy, hey, Johnny, like your fat ass, get up," right? Like it's more
Right, right.
right. It's there's some friendly nature to it, but it's still a comment is a comment. Whereas when it's strangers, from what my friends tell me, it's more making fun of. Like, how times where there's people, when someone says a joke, there's some people laughing at you, but there's still
Yes.
majority of people laughing with you. It seems
Yes.
that, especially ladies who are a bit bigger, it comes across as everyone's laughing at them,
Yes.
right? And you mentioned something that was very powerful to me was you felt like they were taking your dignity away.
Yes.
And there's only two ways to get that back. Either you have to get it back for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
from yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or you need someone there to help you rediscover it,
Right.
right? What ultimately led you to want to lose the weight, to push through and reclaim your dignity?
Me reclaiming my dignity came with me walking into my physician's office to refill the 14 statins, all these different insulins and things like that. And I was so excited. I just kept talking about how my daughter was pregnant and she was having a girl this time, and I was going to fly to California to be there for the birth, since I was, there for my grandson's birth. And my doctor sat down and looked at me and said, "You won't be here." And I said, "Come again?" And she said, "I've been trying to get you to have the surgery for 2 years, and we keep adding medication. You're now maxed out on everything. You will not be here. Your body's going to give out." And 2 weeks later, I was on the table. I was determined to meet my granddaughter. 2 weeks later, I had the sleeve surgery. So that's I guess you can say that's how I reclaimed my dignity. And as the weight started to fall off, all of a sudden band moms didn't look at me, with the side eye anymore. And, people wanted to get to know me and things like that. And it was just like, no, I see through you. We're good. We're good. If you can't treat somebody with dignity and respect just because of who they are, you don't need to be in my life. So women do have a hard time reclaiming that. And I had to use the surgery as a tool, because it's not a fix, it's a tool. There are a lot of rules and things that we have to do on our end nutritionally to make this tool work for us for the rest of our lives. And not eating Lay's potato chips every day is one of those things, despite they taste good.
You had, I guess, like an epiphany moment where it's like, I need to do this
Yes,
because I want to be here. There's people that I
yes,
need to be here for.
yes.
And then there's the other side where there's some people who they don't have maybe someone important for them. And
Hmm.
I think this goes back not only for those who are maybe a little bit bigger, I think this goes for anyone that is trying to overcome some trauma is they seek instant attention and validation,
Ooh,
right? And from a sexual standpoint, it's a lot easier for women because regardless of what size you are, there's always going to be that guy,
yes, yes.
right?
There's always
When
one.
there's always one. And if you're a bigger man, there's no woman that's going to deal with you like,
I agree, but I disagree. Because
oh,
I've seen society accepts men. It like it's just normal that older men have a beer belly or a belly, you know? And society is fine with that. But then you've got society that has pushed out so many of these model images. You've got all these girls and grown women running to get BBLs because of what society is pushing. So I think it's a lot more accepted when a man has a huge belly.
do you think that, and that's where I was going with that statement, do you think that maybe then the belly is the larger stomach is more acceptable on the men's side, but a larger entire frame is not accepted on either
Yes.
side,
Yes.
right?
100%.
So in that situation, then if you're looking to not find your own purpose, but you're looking for that instant gratification, you could have both sides now saying
Hmm.
that I want someone to make me feel better, even if it's for 10, 15 minutes. And that's where I think a lot of people who are struggling with body image tend to find themselves in
Yes.
difficult sexual situations.
Very
Um,
much.
have you come across, maybe not necessarily you, but have you come across um, people that have struggled with that? And What is your take on it?
I don't have anyone in my life who, in my current life or even my past life, who struggle with it enough to seek, sexual validation from it. But I do know it exists. I do know it's rampant in the, 30s and under group. People, this is hookup culture. So it kind of helps that cause. It kind of helps feed into that. But I agree. You have to learn how to validate yourself, and that's where it begins. That's where your true journey begins, when you pull back and say, no, I am worth this. I am worth more than 15 minutes of gratification, if that.
What would you tell yourself, like knowing what you know now, what would you tell
Mhm.
yourself back then with the wisdom that you have today?
That it's okay to have the surgery, and it's okay if people judge you. People judge regardless. But it was necessary. Like I said, I had already had complete renal failure, and miraculously recovered from that. So it was okay. It was a tool, and I've been shamed for having surgery. Don't get me wrong. Women especially will shame you for having it. Oh, you took the easy way out. There's nothing easy about the amount of vitamins that I have to swallow every day. There's nothing easy about me making sure that, I juice kale and spinach and, celery for the hydration and cucumbers for the hydration, so that then, feeds my body what it needs. It gives it the vitamins that we can't buy. Um, there's nothing easy about this journey. Whether you lose it the right way, or society's right way, or whether you have surgery. Now, I will admit that there have been a lot of people who took advantage of that surgery that didn't need it. They were lazy. Um, but there are some of us whose life depended on it.
That's something that I have heard in regards to anything where either get, and I forget the terms for it, but I know it's loosely known as like getting your stomach stapled or the sleeve
Yes,
or things of that
yes,
nature, right? There's a
yes.
lot of people out there that will say that, you know what, it's cheating. And I would tell those people that there's many people, I believe, I don't have the
Hmm.
numbers, but I believe many people, if not most people, get it because it's essentially a life or death situation,
Exactly.
right? Which in many times is no faults of their own. I
Hmm.
think there's this image out there, at least maybe portrayed a little bit, where everyone who's getting the sleeve or they're getting something done with their stomach is because they're sitting eating bonbons and cheeseburgers all day long.
I wish.
Those
I
people
wish.
maybe could even make it at that point, right? Because if you're going to eat yourself into a food coma or that size, it would, you would, who knows if that would even help you at that point in time, right?
If you are habitually eating things like that, a United States surgeon will not perform the gastric surgery on you. There is so much mandatory education and psychological exams. And I'm not just talking about, oh, a letter from your therapist. I mean, things that they're asking you questions and you're like, what is this? But somehow they figure an in a kind of indirect way to see if are you ready for this, because it's a lifelong commitment. It's not like when you lose weight the normal way and then you can go back eating the things you want to eat. This is a lifestyle. um it I lost my word. It's not easy. It is a lifelong commitment, and I wish that I was, just lazy at that point, but that's not the case. um, a lot of us who have had this surgery, particularly in the US. And I say that because Mexico doesn't have any guidelines on it, neither does Colombia or the DR. You pay for it, you can have it. But those of us who had to go through hospitals in the US, I had to go through Emory in Atlanta, #1 hospital. Yeah, the education, the check-ins, the therapists that you have to see even after the surgery. You still have to go to classes. You have to go to nutrition classes, you go to meal prep classes, you go to, therapy appointments every week, and your surgeon is in charge of all of this. So this is not easy. It's not. Um, I stopped going out to eat with people because why would I pay $30 and all I can eat is 4 ounces? That means whatever it is, I'm going to be eating it for a week. I'm wasting money. You know what I mean? I literally, I tested it. And those little individual Greek yogurt cups, they're 4 ounces. And I put my food in there one day and tested it. And that's all I can tolerate at one time is 4 ounces of food. And that's been for the last 9 years.
Was that hard for you to get accustomed to?
Very much so. Um, but the good thing is when you come home, they start you're just on liquids, and then they reintroduce things into your diet slowly. Because one of the things that does happen is our body rejects certain things. So it's called dumping in the gastric community. And it's literally like, say today I have sauteed zucchini, right? A couple of weeks later, your body hates it. And now you're on the bathroom floor for 2 days. Um, so we go through things like that the public doesn't get to see or know. Um, it's not easy. I would do it all over again though. If given the chance, I would do it all over again because it did save my life and it brought great things into my life. So I don't want to just say that it's a negative thing because it's not. I'm just saying that people don't understand the entirety of what goes into having gastric surgery.
I listened to the way you explained that. And to me, it comes across as you've had like a second lease on life or re-emergence of this new person. And then I hear you discuss the education piece, and it seems like there's a disconnect between those who may live their entire life without having to even think about going through it,
Mm-hmm.
and those who are living a life where they've gone through it and they're trying to raise awareness. Where do you think the disconnect is between those who are going through this, contemplating it, and everyone else who maybe this isn't even on their radar?
Honestly, it's judgment. It's as simple as that. It's people's lack of love for their neighbor. Because when you love your neighbor, you try to understand. Love means you're trying to understand. Whereas, it's, oh yeah, that band mom, she had weight loss surgery. It's judgment. And people tend to judge because they feel some sort of insecurity about their own selves. So they have to then come in and try to make you feel insecure like they are. It's simple as judgment.
It's like the person who, and I'm just using a comparison here, it's like the person who would say that this person is able to get that because they're born into a family that has money, right? Like they're finding a reason why to justify their judgment
Right.
of that,
Right.
right? They'll look at someone, they say, well, she lost this weight because she got the sleeve. Without the sleeve, she couldn't do it, not knowing that the sleeve is just a step in that journey
Exactly.
to
It's a
get
tool.
there. It's
It's
a
a tool.
tool, right? Just like how someone who's born into, let's say, a two-parent home versus someone who's born into a one-parent home is just they have both parents, which is just a tool to help them further succeed. And we shouldn't
Exactly.
judge them in a negative light in any
Mhm.
situation, or the person who turns around and say, well, you know what, I can't get any girls because I am 5'8", but him down the street, he can get all the girls because he's 6 feet tall.
Right. Right.
Right? It's
It
like,
it
no, like you said, it's the insecurity of it, right? It's saying that, well, because I don't like it, I'm going to pretend I don't understand it. And because I don't, because I'm believing that I don't understand it, I'm going to shame it.
right.
Right?
Exactly.
Is that along the lines
Exactly.
of what you're saying?
100%. You hit the nail on the head. 100%. It's insecurity and lack of don't even care to understand. It's not even just a lack of understanding. People don't even care to understand. The people that I know that I've had the surgery, I'm like, okay, why are you having it? What's your doctor saying? You know, blah blah blah. You know, we have these in-depth conversations with each other of, okay, are you sure this is the right thing for you? Because it's a lifestyle. It's not one and done. It wasn't 9 years ago, I had weight loss surgery, lost 200 pounds, and now I'm a skinny mini forever. No, let me eat too many Lay's potato chips. Let that happen. You can tell that's my weakness, right?
Yeah, they made Lay's potato. They made ketchup Lay's potato
I
chips.
saw those. I saw. Did
I
you
love
see the
ketchup
Cool
chips.
Ranch ones?
I am trying to lose weight and I
So
can't
okay,
think of these things.
well, I'll leave you
but
be then.
but I didn't know. It's interesting. Anytime, because I travel to the States quite a bit and I go
Hmm.
see the same friends. And one thing that anytime I go see my friends over there and we meet up in, let's say, the Airbnb, there's a big bag of Cool Ranch potato chips. And I sit there and I know it's for me.
Hmm.
And I tell them, hey guys, that time where I wanted a snack and I got Cool Ranch, that was a one and done. I don't have these at home, right? I guess they think, I'm Canadian. They don't have it across the border for some reason. So every time I go there, there's this big bag. I'm like, I can't eat this.
Costco size bag.
Yeah, 2 nights later, it's finished, by the way. But I can't eat these. But it's interesting for people, they pick up on those things,
Hmm.
right? They identify those things. And one thing that I love about when you change something or when someone is observant of a change, it sticks with them,
It does.
right? So when your friends, your family saw this change, were they like, what did they see in you that maybe you didn't initially see? And then you're like, well, yeah, that is a part of me now. That is who I am now.
Um, I don't know. That's a really good question. Maybe the tenacity that I had to have after, because I did spend a lot of nights, and this is no exaggeration, on the bathroom floor because at first my body was rejecting everything except liquids and protein shakes. Um, I I should still be drinking protein shakes, but I'm at the point now where if I drink one, I'm going to gag. Um, just because you are mandated to drink them for 3 years, and you get tired of them. They all taste the same. They're all gross. I don't care how good somebody says they are. They're okay. There's you can swallow it. Yeah, that's about it. But I had to have a certain level of tenacity in me to keep this going, to fight through those, not so yummy days and experiences. Um, and I don't think my family realized that health wise I had that in me.
Is that the standard process after you get it? Like for three
Yes.
years?
Yes.
Okay.
No coffee, uh, protein. You start out with two protein shakes a day. After a couple of years, you can, just make it one. But if you don't eat a meal, you have to drink a protein shake. Like literally, it is the standard.
I'm looking at that diet and try to put it a part of my life. I don't know if I can do that. That sounds difficult.
It's not easy when you're my daughter. She tells this story till this day of how I begged, and I did. I cried to lick a McDonald's French fry. I haven't liked McDonald's for 30 years, probably, but I begged to just lick the salt of a McDonald's French fry. Like it gets that deep. It gets that challenging until you
That's
find your little niche.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I could eat at McDonald's was the fries. I had the fish
Yeah,
fillet once and I was like, this is not real fish
that's not fish. That's
at all,
a fish.
right? And then I saw the video of someone who left McDonald's fries in their car for days,
Yes.
right? And it didn't go bad.
Have you seen the one where somebody on TikTok has had a McDonald's burger? under this like dome for a year and a half and it still hasn't changed.
Yeah, that was the end of me and McDonald's
I don't blame you.
because I was like, there's no because then if you can preserve food like that, put it into humans, we'll do it forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
At that point. So going now as we close, where are you taking your life now? How are you inspiring other people? Because I saw your social media and there's some very, very positive things on there, right? There's a beautiful quote from, I think it was your Instagram, if I remember correctly, where it talks about the scars that you've
Mm-hmm.
carried and things of
Yes.
that nature, right? So let's speak to where you want to take your life going forward, your journey, and how that's inspiring others. And of course, that quote.
Right now, I'm unstoppable. I'm the only thing that can stop me from my passion and my purpose. And my passion and purpose are to help people, people who may be in a situation that I was in a few years ago or even a few months ago. Um, I had an experience 2.5 years ago that literally brought me to my knees. And I didn't think I was going to come out of it. But I I have gone on this healing journey and I have been one unstoppable force and I'm only just get beginning. That's it. I'm just beginning and I love it. I love the emails that I get from people. I saw you on this podcast. You're so inspirational. Can we keep in touch? Or I want to work with you. I want to hire you. Um, that in and of itself makes all of these very long and painful days worth it. So if I inspire one soul who is, maybe considering weight loss surgery because their doctor team is telling them that it will be beneficial to them. And again, I've had to take narcotics for 20 years, it affects your intestines. If I can inspire one person who was in my seat, then my purpose is served. My purpose is much bigger than that.